Well, Lou Elizondo has not publicly responded to the UFO hearings yet, as of the time of this recording. However, a year ago on the Black Vault, he did have some very strong words to say as a response to the general sort of thing that we got yesterday at the hearing. So let's talk about it. I will update this if he responds before I get this video out. But this is what the tenor of his thoughts were a year ago, replying to the sort of obfuscation and lies that we got yesterday. So let's talk about it. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like, please subscribe, share on social media, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, so first of all, what would Lou be responding to? Well, let's check this wonderful, lovely video out.
I should also state clearly for the record that in our research, AARO has found no credible evidence thus far of extraterrestrial activity, off-world technology, or objects that defy the known laws of physics. In the events...
There you go. There's no evidence that any objects have defied the known laws of physics. Despite the fact that these objects can go supersonic speeds without creating a sonic boom, which is defying the known laws of physics, and that is just, a surface level thing that many of these objects do continually all the time. There are countless, cases of this. And there's, a lot of more fantastic things that these objects do, interacting with our consciousness and appearing as all sorts of stuff. And, it gets pretty crazy what these objects are capable of doing. But according to Sean Kirkpatrick, there's nothing anomalous going on. They don't defy the laws of physics. So he is a total liar. He is a disinformation agent. He is a tool of the control group or whatever the powers that be are, judging by the zeal to which, he goes, the zeal to which he approaches this, even going so far as to co-author papers with Avi Loeb. I tend to believe that he is committed to this cause. This isn't just a day job. He's not just doing his shift as a disinfo agent. He believes in it. He is committed to it. So I think he is working for the control group, whether wittingly or unwittingly. I would think it would be wittingly in some fashion. Maybe he's not deep into it, but he knows some stuff. So let's just go to what Lou had to say a year ago on the Black Vault. And again, this is not directly addressing what was said yesterday at the hearing, but these are some strong statements about the general sort of information we were given yesterday. So let's see what Lou has to say.
I will continue to pursue this doggedly and vocally until the cows come home. I'm telling you, I feel the same. Chris is the same way. We're not giving up. Mm-hmm. I know what I've seen, and same with those people that I served. I took an oath, to represent the will of the American people, to defend this country from all enemies, foreign and domestic. That oath has never changed, and I'll be damned if I'm going to sit back and let a bunch of bureaucrats, abscond with that responsibility to be fair and transparent with the American people. This is what I've said before. The American government, we do not work for the American government. The American government works for us. And we must be prepared to tell the government what we expect of it. Don't sit back and wait around and let them tell us, oh, here's what you can have. Bullshit, man. That's not the way this works. Mm-hmm. You represent us. Don't ever forget that, because the day you no longer represent us, you're gone. You're out, because you're no longer legitimate. Your authority is no longer legitimate.
There you go. Your authority is no longer legitimate, Sean Kirkpatrick. That is what Lou Elizondo from a year ago may have said in reply to the hearing yesterday on Capitol Hill. And I would extend that very sadly to Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. I had high hopes for her. I really did. She was saying some really strong things leading up to the hearing. She really seemed like she was poised to become a hero of ufology, and yeah, real heroine going forward, and one of the names to be carved on the Mount Rushmore of ufology. But sadly, she is not. She is compromised, just as Tim Burchett said she was. And it wasn't a political thing. He also indicated that Marco Rubio was compromised. He did not name names, but he said some of the leading people on both sides of the aisle that were talking about UFOs and trying to openly or publicly push this forward were in fact compromised. And the leading people on both sides of the aisle were Marco Rubio and Kirsten Gillibrand. So, very, very sad. Very, very sad. What are some alternatives? Well, Joe Mergia has a possible alternative, and this is actually something I said yesterday as well. He has some more information about the security levels, and I think that's really a good point. And he's replying to something Lieutenant Tim McMillan said. One of the most significant but undiscussed things that came up on today's U.A.P. hearing was the revelation that AARO doesn't have Title 50 authority. What this means is that AARO has limited access to Title 50 information, which includes covert action in most intelligence missions carried out by agencies like the CIA, NRO, NGA, or NSA. By saying it would be nice to have Title 50 authority, Kirkpatrick was taking a huge shot across the bow at Title 50 agencies that likely haven't been playing ball with AARO. So that's interesting. In essence, AARO may only have access to 20% of the U.S.'s full collection potential. So that is interesting. One might even be inclined to be sympathetic toward Kirkpatrick if he wasn't a blatant liar and disinfo agent. Sadly, he is, so he doesn't even want the access. And, he apparently reports to Moultrie. And Moultrie has some say in the funding of AARO, and Moultrie didn't even want to give them more funding. So, they don't even want the tools they need to do the job. So it's not like Kirkpatrick was beating a drum saying we need more access or more intelligence classifications. But Joe Mergia says, gee, I wonder who did have that Title 50 authority. What I said 2 days ago, if Kirkpatrick obfuscates and Congress wants to replace him, I hope they consider the civilian equivalent of a 2-star admiral who was able to open some important doors and who had the U.A.P. task force humming with a whole of government effort. That would be Jay Stratton, a.k.a. Axelrod, the man who is haunted by werewolves. I'd let him name his conditions and beg him to come back. Here's Stratton and Travis Taylor from their AC event with George Knapp. Stratton says, the 2 hats I wore was a National Intelligence Community funded senior, so that means the Office of Director of National Intelligence paid my salary. Why is that important? It gives me access under Title 50 to the entire intelligence community to deal with the issue. He also worked with the Navy. So Jay Stratton would be a welcome change of pace from Sean Kirkpatrick. He seems like he is a more pro-disclosure oriented individual. Of course, we don't really know a whole lot about him or his stances. He has not openly said very much, but he is an ally of Travis Taylor, who is more disclosure oriented. Maybe not as much as I would like. I mean, he's a government guy. He's been working with the government on stuff like this for a long time. But he does seem to want disclosure and is an advocate of the public to some extent. So I think Jay Stratton would be a welcome change of pace. He was the leader of the U.A.P. task force before being replaced by Moultrie and Bray. Now, was that a voluntary replacement? Did he step down and they step up? Or was he too pro-disclosure and the control group stepped in and said, we can't have this, we got to get rid of this guy? I don't know. I don't know what the circumstances are, why Jay Stratton stepped down or was fired from the U.A.P. task force. I would love some more details on that. If you do know more details on that, please let me know. But at any rate, it's clear that we need someone else other than Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick leading the effort. But could anybody lead the effort is the question, because the control group is in charge. Would the control group allow somebody that's not, a disinfo agent, not a willing tool of the control group, to lead the conversation on this? And, that's a great question. So it's early days yet. Arrow was just funded. However, it is headed by someone who doesn't think that Arrow should exist and is actively pushing disinformation like there are no anomalous UFOs. There are, according to lovely Sean Kirkpatrick, no objects that defy the known laws of physics. So, and we should approach studying UAP through the lens of conventional physics. And if it breaks the laws of physics, according to Sean Kirkpatrick, we should ignore it because it doesn't exist. I mean, that's actually what he and Elizondo said in the scientific paper. So this tool of the control group needs to go. The control group needs to not run the show. People that serve the control group, like Marco Rubio and Kirsten Gillibrand, need to step aside and let people like Tim Burchett, who is actually an advocate of disclosure and an ally of the American people. And that's not a political thing. This is talking about UFOs and UAP specifically. Tim Burchett really wants to get to the bottom of this. He is open about this. He is open in speaking about this and what he has learned behind closed doors. Obviously, he can't reveal all he's learned, but he has revealed a lot, including, UFO crash retrievals and reverse engineering. And, his friend Matt Gaetz has talked about how, he was shown images of U.S. air crews intercepting a UFO. So we need people like that running the show, not people like Kirsten Gillibrand, Marco Rubio, and, of course, Sean Kirkpatrick. So anyway, I embrace Lou Elizondo's strong words from a year ago. If you're not serving the American people, if you're not of the people, by the people, and for the people, you need to go. So we need to get rid of these clowns and put in some new people that actually do serve the American people. Of course, to do that will be to go against the control group, which will require some major juice. So I don't even know if enough juice exists in the world to go against the control group, because they may and probably are working with the beings who are controlling this issue, in my humble opinion. So, but something's got to change, guys. We need we have already a grassroots movement that has built up so much momentum that it has engaged the interest of Congress. So we need to keep that going, guys. And we need to not be complacent. We need to not allow Sean Kirkpatrick to steer the conversation. We need to not allow him to spread his disinformation successfully. When he says there are no anomalous objects, that there are no objects that defy the known laws of physics, don't believe him. He is a spreader of disinformation. So that is what I have to say. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I would appreciate it. Smash the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. Please share this video on social media. That would be super helpful. I would really appreciate that. And join me there. See you on Facebook and Twitter. That'd be super cool. And check out some of my other videos. Until next time, this is Jack with the Cosmic Road signing out.